1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. On November 13th, 2022, a tragic event occurred. The death of four University of Idaho students were tragically murdered in their off-campus home. The four victims are Xena Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, both 20, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Madison Mogen, both 21. There were two other roommates in that household the night of the murders. Their names are Dylan Morton and Bethany Funk. In order to understand the murders, we have to take it back to the night before. On November 12th, Madison and Kaylee were both seen at a club in downtown Moscow and then later seen and captured on a food truck's camera at 1:40 a.m. approximately, while Chapin and Kernodle both attended a Sigma Chi sorority party from 9 to 1:45 a.m. In the affidavit of Dylan Morton, she stated that all residents who were in that household that night were in their rooms by 2 a.m. Between 4 to 4:25 a.m., the heinous crime had occurred. We know the timeline of the murders because Xena had ordered a DoorDash at 4 and then was on her phone scrolling on TikTok from 4 to 4:12. We also know that these murders occurred between this time frame because Dylan stated in the affidavit that at approximately 4 a.m. she had woken up to what sounded like Gonzalez playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, located right above her. Then, a shorter time later, Dylan stated that she heard who she thought was Gonzalez say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." Um, Dylan then stated that she looked out her bedroom door but didn't see anything. And then she opened her door for a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. And then she thought she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Um, Another reason why we know that these murders occurred between this time is because at approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road um, picked up a distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud and then a dog barking continuously. Dylan then stated again that she had opened her door for the third time after hearing the crying and saw a figure dressed in all black clothing and had a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Dylan described the figure as a 5'10" or taller male, not very muscular but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past Dylan as she stood frozen in a shock phase and then went out the back sliding glass door. The murderer, later identified as Brian Christopher Kohberger, who was then 28, now 30, had entered the home that morning. Brian is charged with 4 first-degree murders and a federal charge of burglary. What he used to kill the victims was a sharp knife that was military graded. Um, his attorneys are Ann Taylor and Jay Longston, and then what I could find on the victims' attorneys is Jeff Nye, Shannon Gray, and state prosecutors. And the investigators on the case are Chief James Fry and Captain Anthony Dallinger, who is now chief, and officers. Investigators on this case are Lawrence Mowry, Stephen Mercer, and Kathy Mabut. Some evidence that is piled up against Kohberger is that there was a leather knife sheath found on Mogen's bed, who is to believed the first victim of Kohberger, and the DNA on the sheath matching to Kohberger's family, and then Kohberger's car, which was a Hyundai Elantra white, and then Kohberger's phone tracing, which was located in the area of the murders at that time. Investigators believe that Kohberger had entered the house through the same sliding glass door that he exited out of. Investigators also said that Kernodle, Kaylee, and Chapin all fought for their lives. and Kaylee was trapped in between the wall and her best friend, so she had no escape. Kohberger's trial is not set until August 2025. Some of the impacts that society has had is by spreading light onto the four victims and their families, and helping police find somewhat of new evidence while also coming up with their own theories on what happened that night. One theory was created by an ex-CIA and FBI agent. Her name is Tracy Walder. Tracy said that the reason why Dylan and Bethany were not killed is because he was exhausted from killing the four others, and that he was in kind of a dazed state and probably did not see her from being in his own mind. Walder also stated that two of the murders, probably Zaina and Ethan, were not expected to, like, he wasn't expecting them to be there. They think that his target was Madison or Kaylee. They still have yet to find the murder weapon. Kohberger is held at Ada County Sheriff's Office. Justice has not yet been served to the families of the victims and to the victims themselves. I do think that Kohberger is rightfully convicted and did do the crime. Yes, I do think that social media did play a big part in this case and how positive it is and how negative it is. Interesting things that have popped up in my research is that Kohberger was never a stranger to the University of Idaho. He was always found sitting in the early semester of that year in the Student Union building. People interviewed a sophomore at the time, Chelsea, who said that whenever she made eye contact with him across the room, she always felt uncomfortable by it. He was also never part of the University of Idaho. He attended WSU, Washington State University, for a degree in criminology and was a teacher assistant there. Before the murders, it is also said that he had followed Kaylee, Madison, and Zaina all on social media and even slid into one of their DMs. It is also said that he went to the restaurant where Zaina and Mogan had worked and had visited there quite frequently. Another alleged is that he had one of the victims on his phone in his Photos app. He was also pulled over multiple times before being brought in for the murders. He got pulled over in Pennsylvania with his father in the white Honda Elantra, which the authorities were looking out for. The Idaho 4 case will always be remembered for the young lives that were taken too soon, and for the answers that have not yet been answered.